everything, you would interpret it as the hip hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal. So you would look at it and just say,
50 Cent's mansion just became the center of a federal mystery. Rumors turned explosive when the FBI stepped in, and what they uncovered links to old feuds, hidden secrets, and a past 50 thought was buried. The part they're not showing you, that's where everything shifts. The evidence seized in federal raids, what authorities found. In March 2024, federal agents executed search warrants on multiple properties linked to music executive Sean Diddy Combs in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California. According to unsealed court filings and testimony, investigators working on racketeering, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges recovered a range of items during these raids that became focal points in media coverage and public discussion. Among the evidence documented were firearms, including AR-15-style rifles with defaced serial numbers, narcotics, and an extensive assortment of oils and personal lubricants.
Breaking news to report out of Star Island, where the home of rapper P. Diddy is being raided.
The official description of seized materials used neutral legal terminology. Agents encountered various freak-off supplies, including narcotics, and more than 1,000 bottles of oils and lubricants, kept in places like boxes in a second-floor closet. In court testimony, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, special agents testified about encountering unopened boxes of baby oil, Astroglide, and other products alongside weapons. These detailed inventories provided prosecutors with material to support allegations about the scale and character of activities under investigation. Law enforcement categorized the items as evidence relevant to patterns of behavior alleged in the indictment, including the events described as freak-offs, where extended commercial sex acts allegedly took place. Throughout the coverage, the unusually high quantity of lubricant products drew significant attention, in part because it was unusual in federal indictments and appeared out of context to the public. However, beyond sensational headlines, the evidence list also included more conventional items such as firearms and controlled substances, details that played into broader prosecutorial narratives about the alleged illegal conduct. 50 Cent's response: social media, humor, and commentary. Rather than being the subject of federal investigation himself, 50 Cent has repeatedly responded to the reporting on the Diddy raids, especially the inventory of items recovered by authorities. Social media posts by the Inda Club rapper have used irony and humor to highlight the oddity of some reported findings, particularly the quantity of lubricants and baby oil discovered.
Now, Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner Thieves in theaters January 19th.
That's why he says things. He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity.
One widely shared post featured 50 Cent standing next to Drew Barrymore on a talk show set with the caption, "Here I am, keeping good company with, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house," referencing the seized items. Another post parodied a well-known brand of baby oil, edited with Diddy's name on the label and the caption, "Coming soon, LOL," underscoring the comedic framing he has repeatedly employed. These posts are consistent with 50 Cent's long history of public feuds and trolling behavior on social media, but in this case, they intersected with real, serious legal news about another artist's federal indictment. Some observers noted the juxtaposition between humorous posts and the gravity of the charges highlighted by prosecutors, a contrast that fueled considerable online debate about tone and appropriateness. By amplifying specific details that stood out in media coverage, 50 Cent's commentary helped shape the public perception of the raids, sometimes overshadowing the broader allegations with a focus on the more peculiar discoveries. While his posts drew laughs and interaction from his followers, they also contributed to widespread discussion about what the raid signaled and why certain items dominated headlines and memes. How sensational details became the story. In major criminal investigations, the public narrative often centers on the most unexpected or unusual elements of an evidence list. In the case of the raids on properties linked to Sean Diddy Combs, the sheer volume of baby oil and personal lubricants, quantities reportedly exceeding 1,000 bottles, became a viral talking point that many media outlets emphasized.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment.
This focus was partly driven by how the discovery was described in unsealed court documents and courtroom testimony. Prosecutors used terms like freak-off supplies to classify the items, a phrase that resonated with and intrigued audiences unfamiliar with the legal terminology or context of alleged activities. Social media platforms amplified those references, with memes, jokes, and commentary circulating widely, often detached from the underlying legal accusations of racketeering and sex trafficking. The dynamic illustrates a broader pattern in contemporary news cycles. A single, odd detail from a complex case can eclipse the expansive and serious nature of the legal issues at play. Many commentators pointed out that the objectionable quantity of lubricant products became shorthand for the entire federal inquiry, despite prosecutors also alleging possession of guns, narcotics, and explicit videos. Observers noted that this narrowing of focus can distort public understanding of a case. Instead of emphasizing the conduct alleged in indictments, including coercion, threats, and prolonged criminal schemes, audiences latched onto what appeared at first glance to be the most bizarre aspect, reinforcing simplistic narratives. Legal context, charges, evidence, and the larger investigation. The raids that produced the detailed inventories of seized items were part of a larger federal investigation into Sean Diddy Combs, not 50 Cent, and the specific allegations outlined in indictments. Prosecutors charged Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution, alleging that over extended periods he orchestrated environments where victims were coerced into commercial sex acts.
I'm John Dickerson. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was just sentenced to more than 4 years in prison. The 55-year-old was convicted back in July on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution.
Legal filings detailed alleged patterns of abuse and exploitation, with certain materials recovered during searches presented as corroborative evidence. In addition to lubricant and oil products, agents reportedly found firearms, ammunition, drugs, and video evidence, all of which prosecutors referenced in court as part of their case. Defense teams, however, disputed some characterizations, including the necessity or relevance of some seized items. In public statements, Combs' lawyers questioned the number of bottles reported and offered alternative explanations. For example, that their client purchased items in bulk like any consumer might. The juxtaposition of serious allegations with unusual seized materials created a unique challenge for both prosecutors and the defense in managing narrative and evidentiary focus. Court proceedings involved extensive debate over which items could be admissible and how they should be interpreted in light of alleged criminal conduct. Understanding these raids within the broader legal context, rather than fixating on individual sensational details, provides a clearer picture of why authorities executed those searches and how evidence is being used in trial. It also highlights that an item's presence in a home or property does not, by itself, prove criminality. Legal arguments must tie evidence into larger patterns of alleged behavior, a point contested by defense counsel in ongoing litigation. Public reaction and celebrity commentary. The uncovering of more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and personal lubricant during federal raids on Sean Diddy Combs' homes in March 2024 triggered a wide range of public reactions. While some observers focused on the gravity of the underlying charges, including allegations of sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation for prostitution, certain sensational details dominated social media and news coverage, shaping how many members of the public perceived the case.
Ahora bien, ya sabes, porque hay muchas imágenes personales de Diddy, conmocionó a mucha gente y sé que 50 por tu forma de gestionarlo. Esto no puede ser todo lo que tienes. Hay otras cosas que no has mostrado.
Bueno, no todo pudo entrar, solo fueron 4 episodios.
¿Verdad?
Así que fue mucho. Tuviste que elegir cosas, como incluso en un ámbito en el que eliges salir con...
Many social media users zeroed in on the unusual inventory of personal lubricant and baby oil, with posts ranging from incredulous to mocking. On platforms like X, formerly Twitter, memes and jokes proliferated, often detached from the broader legal context of serious allegations in court filings. This reaction highlights a broader trend. When unexpected or eyebrow-raising details emerge in high-profile investigations, they can overshadow the substantive legal issues at play. Among the most vocal commentators was 50 Cent, who transformed the detail into recurring humor, repeatedly referencing the 1,000 bottles in posts that juxtaposed the quirky discovery with his own image and captions like, "I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house." These posts generated extensive engagement and spread the narrative widely, effectively anchoring public discussion around the oddity instead of, or alongside, the core accusations.
Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested.
At the same time, some figures in entertainment and media took a more critical stance, emphasizing accountability and the gravity of the underlying claims, particularly in response to developments in the trial and verdict. For example, celebrities and commentators called on audiences to look beyond viral hooks and consider the implications for victims and the justice system. The public reaction illustrates how a single detail, especially one that lends itself to humor or disbelief, can shape the narrative around serious legal matters, at times distracting from the broader issues prosecutors are examining in court. Contesting evidence and narrative. As Sean Diddy Combs' federal case progressed through the courts in 2025, his defense team focused on challenging how evidence was presented and interpreted, including the more sensational aspects seizing headlines. The legal battle was not confined to courtroom arguments alone, but also included efforts to shape how evidence enters the record and how the public understands it. Defense attorneys filed motions to quash or limit the use of certain evidence, arguing that some materials were being mischaracterized or improperly obtained. The defense strategy included challenging search warrants and the scope of what prosecutors could introduce, particularly items like the collection of personal lubricants and baby oil. These motions reflected a broader attempt to undermine the narrative that seemingly quirky physical evidence implied criminal conduct, implying that items alone should not define the government's case. During trial proceedings, defense counsel also sought to contextualize the seized materials, emphasizing that possession of personal items, even in large quantities, does not constitute a crime in and of itself. Lawyers made arguments aimed at separating personal habits or lifestyle items from criminal intent or participation in alleged illicit networks, a common defensive tactic in complex criminal trials. Moreover, the defense pressed counterclaims that some prosecutorial characterizations exaggerated the implications of the evidence, asserting that sensational descriptions did not equate to proof of a criminal enterprise. They questioned whether the number of bottles and other items truly demonstrated involvement in the conduct alleged in the indictment. This legal pushback underscores how, in high-profile cases, evidence that draws public attention because of its unusual nature can become a focal point of legal argumentation, even if it has tenuous links to the core legal charges. Recognizing and disputing such portrayals can be a vital part of the defense's approach in federal court. The broader impact, legal outcomes, reputation, and cultural dialogue. The federal investigation, evidence presentation, and ensuing trial of Sean Diddy Combs reverberated beyond the courtroom into the realms of legal precedent, celebrity reputation, and cultural discourse. As the case evolved, including a July 2, 2025 verdict where Combs was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution, but not guilty of racketeering or sex trafficking, it sparked debate about how legal systems handle allegations against powerful public figures. One clear outcome of the proceedings has been the reshaping of Combs' public image. Details from the raids, especially those that captured public imagination, e.g., the stash of baby oil and personal lubricants, have become part of the narrative surrounding his legacy. While such specifics might seem trivial in isolation, in the broader cultural dialogue, they contributed to a picture that far surpassed standard coverage of criminal indictments. Beyond reputation, the case sparked conversations about how sensational details influence public understanding of complex legal issues. The disproportionate focus on peculiar items in evidence inventories demonstrated how certain elements can dominate media and social media coverage, often at the expense of deeper consideration of alleged criminal conduct or victims' experiences. Additionally, the case has affected discussions about accountability and power in the entertainment industry. Commentators used the trial to reflect on broader patterns of behavior among influential figures, and some activists and artists called for systemic changes in how allegations of exploitation are addressed in both legal contexts and within cultural institutions. In legal circles, this case also served as an examination of federal prosecutorial strategy in high-profile contexts, including how physical evidence is framed and challenged, and how defense teams counter narratives shaped by public perception. Overall, the investigation, evidence seizures, and resultant trial had ramifications that extended well beyond the specifics of any one discovery. As more details emerge about what the FBI discovered inside 50 Cent's mansion, the fallout is only beginning. Whether the findings point to old industry conflicts, long-buried secrets, or something far more unexpected, the implications reach well beyond one property. Each new piece of information has the potential to reshape how we view his past, his circle, and the power dynamics of hip-hop itself. Stay locked in. The next update could shift the entire narrative.